Once Justice 2 is finally available to the entire world. I haven't done one of these videos in a while, so if you're not familiar with them, basically the idea is that I'm going to be rating each of the plus ultras in the game. I do this with some games that I cover, usually the ones I care about a little more. We're judging the design of the plus ultra, we're not judging how good it is, so this is not a very serious tier list. The idea is that I'm just getting across my opinions on each of these plus ultras and how they were put together from a thematic point of view, an animation point of view, and an overall aesthetic point of view. Obviously, we won't be talking about the plus ultras from Once Justice 1, because those are like totally last year. And I also won't be talking about plus ultra level 1s, only level 2s, the cinematic version that is much more exciting. Now, while I won't be going into detail about the plus ultras from the first game, I will have a tier list at the end of this video that features the plus ultras from the first game as well. I just won't be spending time talking about them. Before we get into the list, I want to ask you what your favorite plus ultra is in Once Justice 2. Let me know in the comments. With that out of the way, let's start right at the bottom of the tier list. C tier. The new version of Shigaraki is a fun character to play, but it does not reflect in his Plus Ultra 2. It's incredibly slow, and the Plus Ultra forces the opponent to do a specific animation that can make some characters look a little bit stupid. Not that the animation is stupid, but the opposing character would never move in such a way. Even though I have this Plus Ultra at the lowest spot on this list, there is still a lot to enjoy about it. It gets across a lot of the flavor of Shigaraki, and even references the infamous bridge scene. So even in the worst of all the Plus Ultras that I have on this list, I still think this one's pretty cool. So that was our only C tier representative. So let's move on to B tier, starting with Cammy. Cammy's Plus Ultra is actually really cool, and I want to commend Biking Studios for doing as well as they did with such a limited character, but there's not a lot of impact behind the final hit. It comes off as a comedic Plus Ultra, and it is supposed to be, but it would be nice to have a bit more of oomph to that final impact. Again, I don't put any blame on Biking here. Cammy must be an incredibly difficult character to work with from a design perspective because her illusions don't deal any damage themselves. It's all up to her to deal the damage. So with that in mind, I don't think they did a bad job. It just leaves a little bit to be desired. Moving on to A tier, our first tier with multiple characters, starting things off with Twice. I really do like that they used Twice's ability to create clones, not only in his Plus Ultra, but throughout his moveset. And I want to put it much higher up on this list, but it does feel like it's a tiny bit too slow, and it also makes certain characters look a little bit silly. The fact that they just let Twice run up and measure them. Again, I'm not against comedic plus ultras, I just don't want them to make the enemy look like an idiot. Don't get me wrong, it's still plenty fun to watch. I think all of the plus ultras look good in this game, but someone's got to be an A tier. Mirio Togata is up next, and I think they captured the main flavor behind Mirio perfectly. It's honestly a really good plus ultra, but that final hit leaves so much to be desired. There's not much of an oomph behind it, and I would like there to be just a tiny bit more. Sir Night-Eye has a much better plus ultra than I could have ever expected. Seriously, a man with this little screen time and this little combat ability does not deserve this incredible of a plus ultra too. I feel like somebody at Biking Studios must really love Sir Night-Eye because this character has been given a ton of love and care. The only thing holding this plus ultra back from being higher up on this list is again the final impact thing, leaves a tiny bit to be desired. Overhaul does have a pretty cool plus ultra 2, but I just feel like it's being held back a little bit because of the plus ultra 2 that they gave to Overhaul version 2. They could have went all out with both characters, but I feel like they deliberately kind of limited themselves with Overhaul's design because they were making 2 overhauls. Again, I could be totally wrong about that. That's just how I feel. That was our last entry in A tier. It's time to move on to S tier. The cream of the crop. Starting off with Inasa. You might be thinking, well, Bilbsy, Inasa was actually in the first game. And yes, he was, but he was DLC. And I never got the chance to talk about Inasa in this type of video. So I'll go ahead and do it now. Inasa's Plus Ultra is fantastic. The only thing holding me back from putting it in S+, the highest tier that I have to offer in this type of video, is that the final punch is just a little too slow. That camera moves just a tiny bit too slow, and it makes the pacing just feel a little off. If that was sped up just a tiny bit, I think it would be S+ tier worthy. It feels strange to praise Rappa's Plus Ultra too because it's just an aura style Plus Ultra, and I think for the most part those can be pretty boring, but My Hero does a really good job of earning those. Rappa's feels very dramatic, and All Might's, even though this entry is not about All Might, is incredible. Generally, I don't get excited about multiple punches in a single move. Most of the time that type of aesthetic doesn't land with me, but it works for Rappa, so Fine, I'll give it to him. It's cool. Saiji's Plus Ultra is a little bit silly, but I don't care. It's so perfectly silly. The fact that this man just tosses you between each of his skin hands and then throws you into the ground and then turns away from you. It's just... I don't know. Maybe I just like this character too much. I think that's super cool. Najire Hado is up next. The pacing seems a little bit strange for me. It feels like there's some slow elements in there, but I really like the visual effects and it suits her character perfectly. It's almost an S Plus Ultra, but the pacing just holds it back a little bit. Overhaul version 2's Plus Ultra is basically a significantly more dramatic version of the regular Overhaul's Plus Ultra, and therefore it's bumped up a spot on the tier list, but I still can't put it in S Plus. It's really good, and I wouldn't argue with anybody who decided to put it in their S Plus, but for me it doesn't quite land in there. I want to like Gang Orca's Plus Ultra level 2 a lot. I like the character, I like the aesthetic behind the character, and I think the concept they were going for here is really awesome, but the animation after the scream falls a little bit flat for me. No pun intended, because the character itself looks kind of flat. Yeah, I want to like this one a lot more than I do, but I just don't think it was executed to its fullest potential. Finally, we can move on to the S Plus tier. When you talk about the absolute best Plus Ultras in the game, these are the Plus Ultras that should be involved in that conversation. Shoot Style Deku has a new Plus Ultra too, so I'll be talking about it here, even though he was in the last game. Doesn't matter, he's got a new Plus Ultra now. Looking at the two side by side, the new one is definitely an upgrade over the old one, and that one was already amazing, so S+. Continuing that same line of thought, Full Cowling Deku is also outstanding. I'm honestly fairly surprised I like this one as much as I did. It's actually really, really cool. Honestly, I don't know if I'm just super biased for this next one because I like this character a lot. That's Tamaki. I really enjoyed Tamaki's Plus Ultra too. The flavor is on point, and the pacing is really good. There's a little bit of a slow moment between the final impact and the attack right before it, but I can forgive it. Changing the tone a little bit, we're going to move on to a comedic Plus Ultra, and that's Mineta's. I don't generally like Mineta, but it is hard to deny just how perfect of a Plus Ultra this is for his character, and the shot in the sunlight is perfect. I hate to admit it, but this is an S Plus Ultra. Another character I feel like they captured perfectly was Mina. Honestly, when they first announced Mina, I wasn't particularly excited because at the time I wasn't like a big Mina fan, but after rewatching the series recently and playing the character in Once Justice 2, man, she won me over. They captured the breakdancing aesthetic perfectly, and this Plus Ultra was a big contributor to that. Mystic Impress's Plus Ultra 2 is hard carried by that final pose. I don't care. That pose with the fireworks is just so damn cool. The whole thing together might be a tiny bit too slow for my liking, but that final pose is just... He turns you into fireworks and then he bows to the camera. Isn't that awesome? I feel like I'm going crazy because no one's talking about this Plus Ultra. It's so sick. The last character on this list is Fat Gum. On its own, I don't think it's quite S+. I like the repeated punches into the wall. I think that looks really cool. I like the camera breaking. That's a big plus for me. But most of all, I think I'm going to give it an S+ for the unique transformation. That's something that no other character has in Once Justice, so you got to give it props for that. If you guys really want, I'll do another video for the Team Plus Ultras, but I think you know where I stand. Most of them belong in like S or S+ tier. They're all super, super cool. But if it's something you want, I'll do it. I want to thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you're interested in picking up some metal posters to spice up your room, be sure to check out Displate.com. They're sponsoring this video, and I'm so happy to be working with them. They're such a cool company. If you want to support the channel, be sure to use the link in the description to take you directly to their website, where you can also use code BILBSY for 15% off any purchase. But make sure you click that link, that way they know you were sent there by me. My name's been Bilbsy, and I'll be sure to catch you in the next video.